What's going on, everyone? So let's talk about a potential draft prospect in DJ Burns. So DJ Burns has been kind of linked to the Lakers for like a couple weeks now at this point. I know a lot of you really wanted me to dive into this sooner, but I wanted to kind of wait and marinate because everything was kind of just up in the air of like, are the Lakers talking to him? Is he coming in? Like there was all the reports and excitement that he like dropped, 35, 40 pounds. And he talked about how, no, it was just through hard work, right? I'm just doing all these workouts and I'm busting my tail and I was able to drop this weight. It wasn't through like Ozempic or anything like that, right? Like that was kind of the big question because that's the thing that everyone's doing right now, right? So it was very impressive that he's been able to do that just strictly through hard work. And that's good from a organizational standpoint, right? You're seeing a young man like go out there and he's just busting tail and really, he's able to drop weight and he's, improving his game. And it's like, it gives you more excitement for his potential and his work ethic, right? It shows that he has a good work ethic. But there was for a little while kind of like, have the Lakers went and worked him out? Like what ended up happening? Well, we got news that the Lakers have officially worked him out in a pre-draft workout. So the Lakers have gotten a look at him. He's a guy that I've seen all kinds of like different comps and things for. A lot of people like to talk about him as like a Zebo, Zach Randolph. I wouldn't really go that far. I mean, if that happens, then beautiful, right? I think he's probably closer to like like a Grant Williams type player, right? Because he's not like, he's a guy that's a bit undersized. He's 6'9". He was like 275, something like that. He was a big body, right? He was a big boy that he kind of just used that to his advantage in college. So, he was the guy that was just kind of bully balling everybody. And that's how he was able to generate a lot. But he wasn't a very good rebounder. He only averaged like 4 rebounds a game. Again, he's undersized. He's more of a 4 than like a 5 because he's 6'9". But granted, the problem is like, we only know what he did in college and we only know him at the weight that he was. So like, what does he look like now? 40 plus pounds lighter, right? Does he have a little more up to him? Can he, rebound better? But also there's the concern of, does it hurt him in a negative light, right? Because that was kind of his game, that bully ball, post, just kind of use his weight and his size to kind of bully people out the way, right? Kind of, Zion-esque, but without the, crazy hyper athleticism, right? Like he was a guy that, again, I'm not trying to compare him to the level of Zion, but just kind of the idea of like, hey, I'm just going to run you over. I'm bigger and stronger than you. And that was a real question with Burns is like, would that translate to the NBA where guys are, they're 6'9" and, match him size-wise and physicality-wise, right? Is he a guy that can kind of be that bully ball guy in the league, right? And that's why a lot of people because his game in college, yes, was very reminiscent of like a Zach Randolph, right? Just that bully ball, hard-nosed dog. He's going to go after it. He's going to do the dirty work. He's going to make the tough plays, right? He's going to, he can hit the mid-range a little bit, finish at the rim, right? Like, I understand the comparisons. I understand why people go, man, like, we got to get him. He's the Zach Randolph. But Zach Randolph was very different and special, right? Again, I would look at him more of like, kind of a Grant Williams, where like Grant Williams is probably best at the 4. He's not like super skilled, but he is this like, kind of big burly guy that kind of, he likes to think he's tough, but I don't really think you associate toughness with Grant Williams, but he is a guy that can be a good contributor. He's a guy that, does some things nice on the basketball court. That's what I think DJ Burns can do. Thing is like, he's 23, which the Lakers do like guys like that, right? The Lakers do have a history of drafting kind of like the older guys in the draft, especially with their second round picks, because they're usually a little more mature. They're a little more kind of understanding. They're a little more willing to kind of fit into a role because, they spent 4 years in college or whatever, right? Where, you get this young guy coming in. He spent a year. He was a superstar in high school. Comes in, like, you got to kind of work with those guys. You got to kind of get them, where the Lakers have had a good track record of kind of finding those diamonds in the rough, that, or 22, 23, 24. And I mean, even Austin Reeves, right, was older when we drafted him. So the Lakers really like to go get those kind of older guys. And, ideally those dirty work guys, right? You think of like guys that they draft, Josh Hart, Larry Nance Jr., right? Even, Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, right? So Burns does kind of fit the mold of kind of what the Lakers like to draft when you're talking about the, kind of the second round picks. And look, him at 55 could make some sense. Thing is, though, is that like he's not projected to go high. He's not even, like, in some cases, not even projected to get drafted. So is he a guy that makes sense with the 55th? First off, I think if Bronny's there, the Lakers take Bronny. Like, if we're being honest, the Lakers are going to take Bronny, right? Which I don't mind. At 55, if Bronny's there, take him, right? I don't, like, yes, obviously I want to get the best player available, but I think Bronny has a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and he'll get to work with LeBron a lot now. Like, I think Bronny will take some real strides at some point. I'm not saying he'll be a star or superstar or anything, but I do think Bronny has the potential to be a very good basketball player. And if he's able to play with his dad, I think his dad will be able to work with him a lot more than he can now because, again, they would be on the same team, doing the same workouts, the same everything. We've seen what LeBron can do to like Rui Hachimura and guys like that within just a year. Imagine the next 3-4 years, like all LeBron does is just work with his son to improve him, right? So I think if that's there, that ends up happening. But, if like Bronny's off the board and off the table and you told me you drafted DJ Burns, I wouldn't be against that. Like, I wouldn't hate it. To me, it kind of boils down to like, how did he look in the draft? What was the impression, right? Now, Doc he looks good. He's moving well, right? He lost the weight. Like, you're hearing all these good things, right? But you hear that about a lot of guys, right? It's like, oh man, this guy. So to me, it's kind of like the Lakers are going to do their whole process. They're going to go through all the drafts, guys, and they're going to, be linked to a bunch of guys. And we'll talk about a bunch, especially in the next like week or two. Once we start moving closer to the draft, you're going to start hearing a lot more buzz, and we'll cover it all, and I'll talk about it all, and we'll go through various players and stuff. Thing is, like with the 17th pick, I'm very confident is gone. I also wouldn't draft Burns at 17. I just don't think he's 23 years old. Even if he does turn out to be great, I just don't see teams draft him because he's 23. Most teams, they want the young, athletic, upside guy that they can have on the roster for the next, 5 years, and they're only 23, right? Like, that's the idea that most teams want, that most teams go in the direction of, where a guy like Burns, being 23, he's a guy that, teams are going to shy away from a little bit, right? But I do think that if he's doing well in this draft, I do, again, think, I personally love that if it's true that he is just, again, busting his tail and lost 40 pounds. I love that. Because, again, that shows good work ethic. Now, I do have concerns, again, about how does that impact his game, right? It could improve his game. He could be better for it, right? Maybe he gets a little more athletic. Maybe he's able to move a little better, right? Maybe he's able to be a little more limber. Maybe he's able to rebound better because he can position himself. He's not this just big body jumping up, carrying all this weight, right? So there could absolutely be some positives for him doing that, but it also could take him a little while, right? Because he is used to just give me the ball and I'm just going to move this guy out of my way, rather than like, now he doesn't have as much weight behind him to kind of bully. I still think that's going to be a part of his game, and he'd still be, 6'9", 240 or whatever, right? So he'd still have some good size. I do think he could play the 5 in certain spots, but like, he's not the answer at the 5, is my point, right? Like, I've seen some people throw out like, oh man, get him, he'd be good center, right? Like, another kind of thing is like Kenny Lofton Jr. Like, a lot of people talk about him. That I do think is a better comparison. You can make an argument that Kenny Lofton's probably all around better, but I also think, and he's out of the league, basically out of the league right now. I do think a team will probably bring him in because he is skilled, he is talented, he can do some things, but I just think he's kind of like the Grizzlies didn't even want to get rid of him. They just kind of were in a position where they had to. So I do think he finds his way. I do think that there are differences, but I do understand the comparison and the thought process of like Burns is just a worse Lofton. I don't know, again, right? Like we haven't seen this version of Burns yet. We don't know what this looks like. And big thing about Kenny Lofton is teams wanted him to lose some weight too. Teams wanted him to basically do what DJ Burns did, right? So if DJ Burns basically did what people wanted Lofton to do, right, maybe that kind of helps and impacts him in a positive manner. Again, he's not somebody that like just jumps out on the out the board, when you look at him. He's basically like a 13-4 guy, which isn't great for a guy that you're looking to play the 4 or the 5. But again, like losing the weight, it's just there's a lot of question marks with Burns, right? There's a lot of just like, okay, and also the all-around game, right? Like, he can hit the elbow, he can, he can like 15 in, right? You've seen that, the impact of him finishing, stretch a little bit. Like you can see him potentially being a guy that could kind of be a little jack of all trades, right? A guy that, can maybe make a little playmaking, nothing crazy, but, make some plays out of the post, kind of bully ball down low, knock down the elbow, knock down the, free throw extended, maybe knock down the occasional 3, right? Play the 4, play the 5. Right? Like you can see the potential versatility. So I don't hate it, but it's just, again, it's just how does he look, right? And what is the weight impact? Is it a negative impact or is it a positive impact? We'll see. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think of DJ Burns? Do you want him? Do you think, yes, go get him? Do you think, nah, I'd probably go undrafted, pick him up? If he does go undrafted, do you want to pick him up? Or is there somebody in particular that you'd look at? I'm sure we'll talk about DJ again sooner rather than later, right? But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, how you feel, down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.